This is the Solid Signal podcast for the week of June 21st, 2021. And I thought I'd go back to basics this week and talk about cell phone signal boosters. Why? Well, you're going to be hearing a lot more about cell phone signal boosters in the next month over at solidsignal.com. I can't tell you much, but I can tease that it's going to be exciting. So I'll talk a little bit about, I thought, cell phone signal boosters, how they do what they do, and why they really do work. And more importantly, why you need one. So there have been these things called cell phone signal boosters for about 20 years. Now, they first came out and they didn't really work very well, and people got them confused with these stickers you put on the back of the phone that were supposed to do real well. And that really set the whole industry back probably a decade. You know, cell phone signal boosters were almost completely unheard of even by 2010. It wasn't until 2014 that everything got straightened out. See, before then carriers like AT&T were saying that cell phone signal boosters would void your warranty and that they would take down the entire cellular network. Neither of those things really are true. But since 2014, the carriers and the manufacturers of cell phone signal boosters have kind of got together, made nice, and the stuff that's come out since has been exceptional. A cell booster consists of 3 parts, plus the cables needed to connect everything and plug it into the wall, etc. There's an outdoor antenna, which, sometimes the outdoor antenna is inside, but that's very rare. There's an indoor antenna, and there's an amplifier between the two. You put the outdoor antenna up on the roof as high as you can and generally point it in the vicinity of where you think a cell tower is. If you're not sure, there are apps you can use to find where cell towers are. Just look on your app store and you'll find them. And you put the indoor antenna as far away from the outdoor antenna as you can, and basically where you want the best cell service. You can buy one cell booster that's going to handle most 3,000 square foot homes, but there are also less expensive ones that will handle much smaller spaces, even as small as just average cars. The magic here is in that amplifier. It's a bidirectional amplifier, meaning it's amplifying the signal coming from outside and putting it inside. It's amplifying the signal from inside and putting it outside. It's doing it in such a small fraction of time that you don't notice any delay at all. And not only that, it's also, if you can believe it, checking the signal like 10 times a second to make sure that there's no feedback or any problem or any overamplification, to make sure that it's all perfectly tailored for what you're doing. Not only does it do this with one frequency, but it does it with 5 entire ranges of frequencies, so making it a pretty complex little box. And that accounts, by the way, for the reason that cell phone boosters cost a little bit more than you would expect. But I'll get to that in a minute. Installation is often done by the homeowner or the apartment resident. There are ones that you can put just out on your patio and it just works. There are a few that just work completely indoors. And the bottom line is, installed properly and with the proper expectations, they all work. They all add signal strength to your experience. And what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that you get faster data, clearer calls, and you can be further away from a cell tower without having any problems. Oh, Stuart, you're thinking, I don't have problems with my cell service, but don't you? The truth of the matter is that about 95% of people suffer from signal loss on an average day, whether it's at work or at home or work from home. They're just not aware of it. Most of the time, when there's a signal loss problem, it's on the transmit side. So you're talking and people can't hear or understand you. It happens fairly quickly. They tend to not say anything about it. And let's face facts, you've done the same thing. You've heard somebody get garbled for a fraction of a second and you didn't really ask them to repeat themselves. You just let it go on. So you just don't realize how bad your cell signal could be. You could ask all your friends. You could do a fancy survey along with data speed tests and all sorts of stuff. Or, you could just take it for granted that it does in fact, constitute a problem. See, cellular signal boosters, as I said, are a little bit on the expensive side. I'm not talking about a month's rent kind of expensive, but generally about the same price as a mid-price to premium phone. Now that sounds like a lot until you realize that one cell booster in your house is, first of all, going to cover everybody who walks in. And second of all, that your average cell booster is going to last 3 to 5 times longer than your average phone. So really, it ends up being a much, much better value than you think. And, it's really a better alternative to something like Wi-Fi calling. Now, okay, so we've all come from a time in the last year and a half where we spent a lot of time in our houses and we didn't have a lot of visitors. But now that we're all getting back to mixing and mingling, you do not want to be giving your Wi-Fi password to every single person. You don't want to be setting up a guest network and giving them the instructions on how to get onto it. You just want to give them cell service that works. Nobody wants to have bad cell service when they visit you, and they'll probably never tell you this. But the truth of the matter is that people won't visit you if they can't get good cell service. They get nervous about it. So they really want to make sure that they're in contact with everyone else, even when they're visiting you. Again, don't point fingers. I know you do this yourself. And this is all the kind of thing that a cell phone signal booster will solve. I don't understand why contractors in new homes don't just put these things in. I don't know why when you're trying to sell existing homes, you just don't put these things in. I couldn't possibly be the only person who goes to an open house and takes my phone out and says, oh, nope, not getting good cell service, not even going to consider this place. I don't know why they don't do it, but they should start. You should start. You should put in a cell phone signal booster, and you should get it from solidsignal.com. Why? Because we carry all the top brands at all the best prices, and we're here to help you with the installation assistance that you're going to need. It's a win-win, folks. Cell phone signal boosters work. They are a great investment. They're not cheap, but they're not as pricey as you think they are, and darn it, you need one. Everybody does. That's about it for the podcast this week. Like and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw a cute little animation at the beginning reminding you to subscribe. As I say every week, it makes me look good to my bosses, and everybody wins when that happens. Leave a comment anywhere you get this podcast. I'd love to hear what you think about this podcast or ideas for future podcasts. That's about it for me this week. I'll talk to you next week.